Now Surah 2 verse 45 also says to seek patience during the contact prayer, salat, as we saw earlier, and seek help through patience and the contact prayer, salat. This is difficult indeed, but not so for the humbly devoted, khashi'un. It says to seek help through patience and the contact prayer. Thus, during your contact prayer, salat, you must seek help and patience. Now we are going to clarify how to seek patience through the Quran. In Surah 2 verse 45, the word for patience is sabr. The preposition be is connected to sabr, which was translated as through, and therefore the word itself is sabr, patience. The word is masculine and is in the genitive case. Thus the triliteral root sad ba ra for patience occurs 103 times in the Quran in 8 derived forms. Those are all the 103 occurrences of the word patience in their derived forms. The last place patience is mentioned is in Surah 103, the last word in that last verse. Everything in the Quran has its purpose. 103 total occurrences, and the last place mentioned is in Surah 103. Now, I'm not going to go through each of these 103 occurrences one by one, but if you want to know more, which I recommend you to do, please go through them, inshallah. However, I will quickly summarize each derived form and finish this with the derived form which Surah 2 verse 45 is mentioned. As you can see, it's the fifth derived form. The 58 times as the form 1, verb sabara, to be patient / endurance, defines patience with 58 examples, as well as its importance and through God. There's a major increase in knowledge, inshallah. Rabbi zidni ilma. Take a quick look through the asterisks above. However, salat, contact prayer, is mentioned with patience in Surah 13 verse 22 and Surah 31 verse 17. That's why I'll read them. Surah 13 verse 22 says, those who are patient, seeking the face of their Lord while establishing the contact prayer, salat, and spend from what we have provided them secretly and publicly, and counter evil with good, these have deserved the ultimate abad. In Surah 31 verse 17 is Luqman, educating his son, as he says, O my son, establish the contact prayer, salat, and enjoin righteousness, and forbid evil, and be patient over what befalls you. That is indeed among the predetermined matters. The rest do not mention the words salat, contact prayer, and do not tell us to or give us examples of how to seek patience, but soon you will see, inshallah. Now, as the form 3, verb sabir, to be patient, defines itself, the 3 times as the form 8, verb istabir, to be patient or steadfast, which is in Surah 19 verse 65 says, to have patience for his worship. Now in Surah 20 verse 132 is directly connected to the salat, and enjoin / instruct your family to the contact prayer, salat, and be patient therein. Note, another quality is being mentioned at the end, the God-fearing, which is also mentioned throughout the 58 times as the form 1, verb sabara, to be patient, endurance. Additionally, Prophet Ismail is recognized by this quality in Surah 19 verse 55, and he used to enjoin / instruct his family to the contact prayer and zakat, and was to his Lord pleasing. Therefore, Surah 20 verse 132 is among the grave verses that has been connected, and also informs us to enjoin / instruct our family to the contact prayer, and to be patient therein, which we'll soon see how, inshallah. Now the final verse in this form, Surah 54 verse 27, which is talking about Messenger Saleh. A full video using all the verses from the Quran is made in case you haven't seen it. Click here. Surah 54 verse 27 is when God sent the first miracle, God's female camel, as a test for Saleh's people, and God informs him to watch and be patient. Now we are going through the 4 times as the adjective, sabbar, patient. First, Surah 14 verse 15 here, God reminds us about Prophet Moses, how he was ordered to bring out your people from the darknesses into the light, and remind them of the days of God. Indeed, in that are signs for everyone patient and appreciative. Then you have Surah 31 verse 31, God reminds us that ships sail through the sea by the favor of God, and that he may show you of his signs. Indeed, in that are signs for everyone patient and appreciative. Surah 34 verse 19 says, God repeats the phrase, and that are signs for everyone patient and appreciative. As Sheba's people and others fail to see the signs of God, read at your own convenience. And the last of this derived form, Surah 42 verse 33 says, if he willed, he could have stilled the wind, and they will remain motionless on its surface. Indeed, that are signs for everyone patient and appreciative. Like I said, we are going to see the fifth one last, so we are now at 20 times as the active participle sabir, the patient ones. In this derived form, almost all 20 end with the active participle, the patient ones, for the exception of Surah 18 verse 69 and Surah 38 verse 44. God is with the patient ones. It is reminded just to give you an idea. I strongly recommend you go through them, or at least the ones I put in asterisks. Surah 22:35, however, is the only one in them that connects with Salat, contact prayer, which we'll see at the end of this page, inshallah. Now, once as the active participle Sabirat, the patient woman, this verse defines equal qualities of both men and women, and once as the active participle Sabira, steadfast, patient, this verse teaches us that 100 steadfast or patient can overcome 200. Thus, the patient ones are very strong. Finally, the 15 times as a noun, sabr. This is where the word is mentioned in Surah 2 verse 45 and verse 153, concerning to seek patience during salat, contact prayer, which is in gray here. Note, Surah 2 verse 153 is under the description of Surah 22 verse 26, which similarly explains the second and final set, which we're going to see soon, inshallah. To have a better understanding of Surah 2 verse 250, you need to know what happened before. It reminds us about King Talut, whom God restored the Ark of the Covenant, which was carried by the angels, which was a convincing sign of his kingship. Then he told his troops that God will test them with a river before they face Goliath. Only a few passed, which was not to drink from the river. In other words, they did their wudu, ablution, because right after it says, those who were certain to that they would meet God said, many a small army defeated a large army by God's permission. God is with the patient ones. Now you'll understand better, inshallah. And when they went forth to face Goliath and his troops, they said, our Lord, pour upon us patience and straighten our foothold and support us against the disbelieving people. Important remark, Prophet David kills Goliath and he becomes king, as it says in Surah 2 verse 251. This is important to realize because the next transition in the Salat is the Ruku' position, which we'll see soon, inshallah. There you have the first direct prayer for patience to say during your contact prayer Salat in the first set, Surah 2 verse 125. Now the next verse is in Surah 7 verse 126, the second and the last place in the Quran that you are seeking patience directly. However, this time, the example given are the magicians whom Pharaoh summoned to see if Prophet Moses' miracles were no more than a magic trick. The magicians then said, O Moses, either you throw or we are throwing. He said, you throw. Then when they threw, they tricked the people's eyes, terrified them, and produced a great magic. And we then inspired to Moses that, throw your staff. And suddenly it swallowed whatever they fabricated. Thus the truth was established, and what they did was nullified. They were defeated then and there. They returned humiliated. The magicians fell down in prostration. They said, we believe in the Lord of the knowledgeable ones, Lord of Moses and Aaron. Pharaoh said, you believed in him before I gave you permission? Indeed, this must be a conspiracy you schemed in the city in order to drive out its people away. You will surely find out. I will surely cut off your hands and feet on alternate sides. Then I will crucify you all. Now note what the magicians say. They said, we will then return to our Lord. This is similar to what we should say in Surah 2 verse 156. Those who, when a disaster befalls them, they say, indeed, we belong to God, and indeed to Him we are returning. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Those are the ones the contact prayers are upon them from their Lord and mercy. Those are the guided ones. And now they say similar to what the believers said who were with King Talut as they prayed for patience. This is to say during the second set, Surah 22 verse 26 of your contact prayer, Salat, which we'll see after this set is complete, inshallah. And you're not taking revenge on us except that we have believed in the signs of our Lord when it came to us. Our Lord, pour upon us patience and let us die as submitters. Note in Surah 3 verse 102, it says, O you who believe, you shall reverence God as he should be reverenced, and do not die except as submitters. Thus, Surah 7 verse 126 is the other prayer to say to seek patience, which is said in the second set, Surah 22 verse 26 here, and we'll see this after this set, Surah 2 verse 125, which Surah 2 verse 250 should be said as a patience prayer, as God mentions it in Surah 2 verse 45 and 153. Now we'll quickly go through the rest of this derived form so you can see that these two were the only patience prayers the Quran. Surah 12 verse 18 and 83 are both Prophet Jacob, which is saying patience is beautiful. Prophet Jacob is extremely knowledgeable, as he is the son of Prophet Isaac, who is the son of Prophet Abraham. Surah 12 verse 18 says, "And they brought upon his shirt false blood." Jacob said, "Rather your souls have enticed you to this matter, but patience is beautiful, and God is the one whose help can be sought against what you describe." And then in the same surah verse 83, Jacob said, "Rather your souls have enticed you to this matter, but patience is beautiful. Perhaps God will bring them all back to me. Truly He is the all-knowing, the wise." My personal remark, Prophet Jacob's patience is truly exemplary, for he knew all this by God's will. MashaAllah. Then in Surah 16 verse 127 clearly says that, "And be patient, and your patience is not but from God, and do not grieve over them, and do not be in distress for what they scheme." In Surah 18 verse 67, verse 72, 75, 78, and 82 are about Prophet Moses as he encounters one of God's chosen servants, and I'll be going through this thoroughly when we get to page 6 of 9, which is the proof of the mathematical calculations of the minimum terminology in the Quran, inshallah. So now we're at Surah 70 verse 5, which says, "So be patient with a beautiful patience, just like Prophet Jacob said." And in Surah 90 verse 17 says, "Then he is of those who believe, and exhorts one another to be patient, and exhorts one another to compassion." That was similar to the last place patience is mentioned in Surah 103 verse 3. And patient is mentioned 103 times, just like the surah number at the last verse. "Except those who believe and do righteous deeds, and exhort one another to the truth, and exhort one another in patience."